Hi guys and welcome back. So today I'm going to be talking about brand names and how I came about creating my own brand name, and just some things that you might need to think about when you're looking to create yours. So even if you have your product, you have your idea, you have your concept, and you're thinking, what is it going to be called when someone goes to purchase? My brand is called, and you keep coming at a loss. Keep watching, because I'm going to help you with this and just give you some little things that you can think about, and hopefully that will spark the imagination and make it a little bit easier for you. So let's crack on. I will start by telling you my journey on how I created my own brand name. So my brand is called Chatting Breeze. And I came around that name because I was thinking of I wanted my brand to be something which sounded fun, but also had a meaning behind it as well. I think that sometimes my fashion t-shirts are not about, I'm not a serious kind of fashionista, so to speak. You know, I'm not Dior, I'm not Louis Vuitton. That's not what I'm trying to do. I'm not trying to be Chanel. I'm not trying to be any of those brands. My t-shirts are about women empowerment, believe it or not. It is about making women feel the best that they can possibly feel, making sure that women are feeling confident and happy, and it doesn't matter what you look like or what body shape that you have or anything like that. And it's about kind of almost flipping it on its head of what we're stereotyped or told what we should look like all the time. Everyone is always telling us women what we should look like, how we should be, what's desirable, what's attractive, you know, and body types and how that's evolving through time. So whether it was super skinny, which was in fashion kind of Kate Moss era, or having now, you know, really kind of that hourglass figure, which is really attractive, and everything is attractive. I know that we're living in a time that now, you know, being big busted and having a big booty and stuff is deemed like the ultimate kind of pinnacle body shape. But if you don't have an ass and you don't have boobs, that's also really attractive. So when I was thinking about my brand name and what I wanted it to represent, I wanted it to represent empowerment, but I also wanted it to represent, in a little bit of a tongue-in-cheek way, like kind of flip off to everyone who keeps telling us what we should look like and what is deemed attractive. So my brand name being called Chatting Breeze is kind of like a without cursing, obviously for YouTube I won't be cursing, but it's like a flip you finger to everyone who kind of thinks like, this is how I should look and this is how I should be, and unless I look like this, I shouldn't be confident and I shouldn't be happy in myself. And it's kind of like, it's Chatting Breeze. Everyone's talking so much rubbish nowadays, whether it's social media, whether it's magazines, whether it's people, you know, just other people just around us telling us things. It's like, flip that. You're chatting breeze, you're talking rubbish, I don't want to hear it anymore. I'm me, I'm confident in me, I love me, and so I'm done. And so I wanted a name to represent all of these things, which is kind of how I'm feeling. It's my emotions, and I know when I talk to my girlfriends, they feel exactly the same. I have girlfriends who have, you know, had children. I have girlfriends who are on the dating scene. I have girlfriends, you know, I've got kind of a broad spectrum of people who are close to me, and everyone's in different parts of their lives. And you know, I know my girlfriends who you know, have just had children, and they're like, God, you know, I need to get back into shape super quickly and I don't feel great about myself. I'm just like, why do you think that you need to do that right now, when you're not sleeping, you're looking after another human being, you've done the most like amazing thing, and your body has done the most amazing thing? Like, why would you put so much pressure on yourself? And I just feel like, as I said, I just wanted something that it doesn't matter whether you've just given birth, it doesn't matter if you're, you know, older and you've already got grown-up children, it doesn't matter if you have no children, does not matter. I just wanted something which would represent to women, just to remind yourself that when you're wearing when you listen or wear my brand, listen to the name of my brand, that you just feel like, yeah, like, I feel good. I feel good in myself. I feel good in what I'm wearing. And actually when I wear this, it represents and it triggers in my mind, just everyone else, what you're saying is outside noise. You're chatting breeze, you're talking rubbish, and I don't want to know about it. So yeah, that was basically how I came about coming to my name, or my brand name. Now, the kind of behind the scenes of that, once, you know, I came to a point, I was like, the name kept cropping up and I kept thinking about it after I'd put down a list of different names, which now I really wish I'd kept the list of names, because some of the names were actually horrific looking back on it now. But anyway, once I came up with it, I then had to look and go, okay, is this already taken, and who has it if it is taken? So I checked on domain name wise, because I knew that I was going to need Chatting Breeze for a website, for you know, well, all the different things that you potentially need it and you want to, you know, put a hold on. So I checked on, I checked on 123reg, that was the website that I used to see if I could purchase it or not, and I did. So I purchased it off of that, and then I also checked on obviously all social media handles, so whether it had been Instagram, Twitter, Pinterest, you know, Facebook, all the different platforms, to see whether someone else had it or not. Now, you will find it's going to be very, very, it's not impossible, definitely not impossible, but it's quite hard to find something that nobody else has thought of. But it just depends. So I found that there was a guy who has got Chatting Breeze as well, but he is doing something totally different. It's, you know, like, yeah, just totally different kind of domain. So there's no way that the brands would ever clash. There's no way that there would ever be an issue. And he's not got a brand, so to speak. He's just doing stuff on social media, just, you know, talking and stuff like that. So there wasn't going to be an issue whatsoever within that to have the same one. And on, I believe it is YouTube. So there is a Chatting Breeze on YouTube, but it's a guy. So like I said, there wasn't going to be a clash or anything like that, and everything else was free for me to take. So I then took it. Now, when I did first initially start on my brand names as well, one thing that you might want to think about, because it becomes easier to get and less expensive, and especially when you're starting a new brand, is kind of coming up with your own name. Basically what I'm trying to say is, if you decided to try and go and get a domain which was Apple, for instance, apple.com, apple.co.uk. Obviously, we all know that there is Apple, right? So because it's a word that already exists, you're not creating a word, you're not merging two words together. It's one word that already exists. Or if you were to try and come up with, I don't know, pink.com, that's probably taken. There's probably someone who already has that, and if you wanted it, or it would be really high costing to be able to purchase it. So you really want to also, before you kind of get your heart set on a name, do double check on your domains whether it's taken and how much it would cost to actually purchase it, because like I said, remember, you don't want to spend like an astronomical amount of money if you don't have it in the first place. So that was another thing I did keep in mind about maybe merging two words together to create a new word. So Chatting Breeze, it's not exactly in the dictionary as, you know, in the normal dictionary, so to speak. I think there is an urban actually word for it. Anyway, a definition. But you don't want to, it's easier to merge words together and create a new word when it comes to your handles, when it comes to your domain names and things like that. So do think about that. And I think just from the start, really think about, and it always comes back down to what you want your brand to represent. It's so important. Like, what does your brand stand for? That is going to be your starting point, because once you really have nailed down what your brand stands for, who your audience is, it really allows your brain to open up and go, oh, okay, because there's no point, for instance, me calling my brand I don't even know, I can't even think, like race car track, or I don't know, building blocks, or something which is aimed towards something totally different industry. Why? Because that's not what my brand's about. My brand is absolutely 100% about women empowerment and making women feel as good as they possibly can, no matter where you are in life or what you're doing, or even if necessarily you don't feel the best about yourself right now. So I wanted something to represent that. If I didn't have that understanding about my brand, if I didn't know that that's what my brand was to represent and that's what it's to stand for, it'd be so much harder to choose a name. It's so much harder to link a name back to your brand when you don't understand what your brand is. So really, really, really nail down, you know, if it is, I don't know, trousers, or if it's a fashion line, or if it's a cooking, you know, recipe book that you want to create, or whatever it is. Like, really nail down what is specific to you. So is it, if you're creating a cookery book and you want to create your own brand around it, whatever, what's do you just deal with vegetarian dishes? Are you predominantly meat dishes? Are you know, is it easy things for people to cook and to bake or to make, or, you know, whatever it is, because then that's going to help you with your name. Do you get what I mean? It kind of comes hand in hand. That's your starting point for you to then be able to think about your different names and get inspired. Ask other people. Ask people if what they think, and do they like the sound of the name, and, you know, is it memorable as well? Because sometimes when you go through so many names yourself, it's so easy to go, obviously, like, oh right, yeah, no, that sounds good, yeah, no, I quite like the sound of that, because you're hearing it over and over again. Yeah, no, people remember that. But actually, will people remember it who aren't involved, who aren't emotionally involved right now? Will they remember the name? And so you do need to get a bit of a feeler for that. You do need to kind of maybe mention it to somebody, say, oh yeah, I was thinking about this name, and then a week later, oh, do you remember that name that I mentioned to you? And let's see, if someone's like, no, I don't remember at all, obviously that does happen, and sometimes we need repetition anyway, but they could then say, oh yeah, wasn't it something along the lines of chatting or chat, or, and then you go, okay, so then they obviously do have some recollection of it. It's just that then it would need to be, you know, consistently obviously embedded, like with any brand that you hear about. It's just consistently, you know, obviously re-seen, either you're visually seeing it or you're hearing it all the time. So I'm hoping that this has really helped you. If you have any questions about branding, or brand name should I say, you know, if there's anything that I have missed maybe in this video that you want to know more about, my journey of how I came about my brand name Chatting Breeze, then pop it in the comments below and I will absolutely get back to you. And if there is something that you want me to help you on, just give me a message and I will try and brainstorm with you and help you guys out. So yeah, let me know, give this video a thumbs up if it helped, and I will speak to you later.